Most people think wealth grows in a straight line, slow and steady, predictable, but that belief is exactly what keeps them stuck. So let me give you a choice. Two offers. In the first, someone hands you $1 million right now. No waiting, no conditions, just instant money. In the second, someone gives you a single penny today, but promises to double it every day for 30 days. Almost everyone laughs at the second option. A penny feels like an insult. It barely counts as money. The first few days prove them right. 1 penny becomes 2 cents. 2 cents becomes 4, then 8, then 16. After a full week, you still do not even have a dollar. It feels slow, embarrassingly slow, like nothing is happening. Most people quit right there. But then something quiet starts to change. The numbers begin climbing faster, then faster again. By the middle of the month, the growth feels noticeable. By the final stretch, it becomes absurd. The jumps are no longer small. They are massive. Day after day, the total explodes higher until by the end of 30 days, that original penny has turned into more than $5 million. And here is the part that stings a little. The people who chose the $1 million offer did not make a stupid decision. They made a human decision. They judged too early. They confused slow beginnings with failure. They could not emotionally tolerate the boring part of growth. And that exact mistake is what stops people from building real wealth. Because getting to your first $100,000 feels exactly like those early days. Slow, unrewarding, pointless, but everything changes after that point. Not because you suddenly get smarter, but because the math finally starts working for you instead of against you. Now think about what actually happened in that penny experiment, because the pattern matters more than the final number. The first stretch feels pointless. You check the total every day and it barely moves. After 10 days, you still have pocket change. Even after 20 days, nothing impressive. If this were real life, most people would have already quit. They would assume the strategy failed. But that's the trick. The system isn't broken. You're just too early. Nearly all the growth happens in the final days, but you only get access to that phase if you survive the boring part. And this is exactly how building net worth works in real life. The beginning feels thankless. You save, you invest, you skip things, you do all the right stuff and still feel behind. That's because, at first, your money barely helps you. Almost all progress comes from you showing up, working, and being disciplined. There's no momentum yet, no tailwind, just effort. That's why the first $100,000 feels so heavy. You are carrying almost the entire load yourself. But something shifts once you cross that line. Just like the later days in the doubling experiment, growth starts to feel different. Your money finally has enough weight to move the needle. Gains become visible. Progress feels real. Not because you changed, but because the scale changed. The math finally turns in your favor. And from the outside, it looks like overnight success. But what people don't see is the long, quiet phase that came first. The years where nothing exciting happened. The phase everyone wants to skip. That slow season is not a failure. It is the price of entry. So let's take that idea and put real numbers behind it. Because once you see this on paper, it becomes impossible to unsee. Picture someone who commits to saving $10,000 every single year and invests it consistently, earning an average return of 10%. The first year feels underwhelming. They save their $10,000, invest it, and that's it. No fireworks, no dramatic growth. In year 2, that original amount grows a little, and they add another $10,000. Now they are sitting just above $20,000. In year 3, the same thing happens again. Another $10,000 goes in, the previous money grows slightly faster, and suddenly they are hovering around $30,000. Nothing about this feels impressive. It feels slow, predictable, almost boring. But here's what's quietly changing in the background. Each year, a larger portion of the growth is coming from the money itself, not the person. At first, nearly every dollar added comes from work and discipline. But year after year, that balance begins to shift. The investments start pulling their own weight. By around year 8, they finally cross $100,000. And this is where the curve bends. The next 100,000 takes much less time. Then the next one comes even faster. Eventually, their net worth starts increasing by tens of thousands in a single year, without them changing their savings at all. Same behavior, same discipline, different result. Not because they leveled up as a person, but because the math reached escape velocity. This is what people mean when they say money makes money. It is not a slogan. It is a structural shift. And this is why crossing $100,000 feels like flipping a switch, even though nothing magical happened. You simply stayed long enough for compounding to finally take over. And this is where the story usually becomes uncomfortable, because the truth is not glamorous and it does not sell well. Your first $100,000 is not built by luck, timing, or brilliant investing. It is built almost entirely by you, your discipline, your restraint, your willingness to delay comfort when nobody is watching. At this stage, your money is not doing the heavy lifting yet. You are. Most of that milestone comes straight from your own effort, from paychecks you did not fully spend, from weekends you said no, from habits you forced yourself to keep when motivation was gone. That is why it feels exhausting. You are pushing the boulder uphill with your own hands. And when people quit, it is rarely because they are incapable. It is because they misread what they are feeling. They assume something must be wrong because progress feels slow. They assume everyone else has a secret shortcut. But slow progress is not failure. Slow progress is the cost of entry. Below $100,000, your savings rate matters more than your investment returns. A clever strategy will not rescue you. A hot stock will not change your life. Only consistency will. Every dollar you keep instead of spend shortens this brutal phase. Every unnecessary purchase stretches it longer. Every month you delay makes the climb steeper. And here is the part nobody tells you. If you never cross this threshold, compounding never gets a chance to work for you. You stay stuck in manual mode forever, trading time for money, pushing the wheel yourself, wondering why it feels so hard while others seem to glide. The acceleration everyone talks about only appears after you survive this part. There is no shortcut around it, no hack, no trick, only patience, only discipline. Only the quiet decision to keep going when nothing seems to be happening. After hearing all of that, the question sitting in your chest becomes impossible to ignore. If the first $100,000 is the hardest, how do you actually get there without burning out or giving up? And this is where the answer stops being sexy and starts being real. There is no dramatic breakthrough moment for most people. No overnight win, no viral success story. It is built the boring way. Slowly, intentionally, you create space between what you earn and what you spend, and you protect that space like it matters, because it does. That gap is where your future is hiding. But here is where people get stuck. They think the solution is endless cutting, cancel everything, never enjoy life, squeeze every dollar until it hurts. And yes, trimming waste matters. But you hit a wall eventually. Rent still exists. Groceries still cost what they cost. Transportation is not optional. There comes a point where you are not overspending. You are just surviving. And that is when a different lever matters more. Income. Not hustle culture. Not working yourself into the ground, but increasing your value over time. Negotiating, learning skills that pay better, creating leverage. Even small increases compound just like money does. A few extra dollars per hour becomes thousands per year. Thousands become momentum. Momentum shortens the hardest phase of the journey. This is why people who focus only on saving feel stuck, while those who grow income start to feel traction. And this is also why starting early matters so much. The early years feel quiet because they are supposed to. You are laying the foundation. You are doing invisible work. But every year you delay is another year you postpone. The moment compounding starts helping you, the boring phase does not go away. You either move through it now or you stay inside it longer than necessary. So if you're listening to all this and wondering what it actually looks like to apply in real life, the answer is not dramatic. It's not flashy, it's quiet, consistent, and honestly a little boring. You start by building a system that runs even when your motivation disappears. That means setting up automatic investments into long-term assets, ideally inside accounts that give you tax advantages if those are available to you. You are not chasing hot stocks. You are not trying to be clever. You are buying the market, owning the economy, and letting time do the heavy lifting. Every paycheck, a portion moves automatically. No decision required, because the goal at this stage is not perfection. It is consistency. At the same time, you are intentionally stacking cash for assets that can grow with inflation instead of fighting it. For many people, that might mean saving toward a home, assuming they plan to stay put and can afford it responsibly, not as a status symbol, not as a flex, but as a tool, a way to lock in housing costs and benefit from long-term appreciation. While you're saving, your money sits in boring, reputable institutions. Not sketchy apps, not miracle returns. Just safe places that pay you something instead of nothing. But the most important shift happens internally. You stop expecting the journey to feel good. You accept that the first $100,000 is a survival phase. It is the trench, the part where you carry almost all the weight yourself. And once you finally cross that line, something subtle changes. Your money starts showing up for you. Not all at once, not magically, but enough to matter, enough to feel. And that is why net worth seems to explode after $100,000. Not because the world suddenly rewards you, but because you stayed long enough to let the math finally take over.